Please welcome Carlo Ratti.
Cities are 2% of the crust of the planet, but they're 50%, actually a little over 50% of the population. They're 75% of energy consumption. They are 80% of CO2 emissions. So if we can do something to make our cities a bit more sustainable, then that can be a big deal. Today we like to share many things. We like to share apartments on Airbnb, couches on couch surfing platforms. So what if we could share mobility more? Now, sometimes we say that if you got big data, you need big mathematics or new mathematics to solve the problem. So if you want to know how many trips could be shared without inconvenience to people, so without creating delays to people, then you need to analyze these kind of huge data sets. It's going to be big urban data. And the amazing thing, if the car drives itself, I think it was mentioned before, is not the fact that you don't need to keep your hands on the steering wheel. But the amazing thing is that the car can give you a lift, and then can give a lift to somebody else in your family, and then anybody else in the city. So effectively, you're creating a new mobility system in between public and private transportation. And if you combine what I was saying before about sharing the ride with this, about sharing the car itself, you can totally revolutionize the way you provide mobility to an entire city. You could take everybody to destination when they need to be there with just a fraction of the vehicles we have today. So, that's about, self-driving with cars. But what about the other ways of other type of mobility? When technology is new technology, but the most important thing is when it allows us to do the things we've always done, or the things we wanted to do, but we can do now in a different way. The first thing, you get a lot of big data about waste. And then in the same way as the global supply chain has been optimized over the past few decades, you can think about how we can use the same data in order to optimize, call it, the global removal chain, the chain of things when we throw them away. So the idea that basically big data tells us a lot about the consequence of what we do, and per se, just the fact of knowing that knowledge can actually become a very powerful agent of change. And so over the past 2 or 3 years, we've been working with an NGO in order to do probably the largest ever mapping of e-waste across the planet. So that's e-waste being shipped from the United States across the planet. Some of those traces are legal, some are not. But again, the idea that big data tells us a lot also about our planet. And then once we know this, when we better understand what's going on, then we can start fixing it.